I think the video before this was also an ISTP video. 2 videos in a row. You've got to subscribe for that. I mean, come on. I think INTPs have already subscribed in large numbers, but if you are an INTP who views often, yet goes on 100 tangents and forgets to subscribe, here's a reminder. Having our number of subscribers going up is very helpful to us, not to mention very fun. Okay, so this is a common and understandable mistype. Let's see what both types have in common. Both are introverts. IP types have introverted thinking as their top function, extroverted feeling as their bottom function, and are both naturally intellectual. ISTPs are action-orientated thinkers, whereas INTPs are exploration-orientated thinkers. INTPs will happily follow trains of thought that they themselves know probably won't lead anywhere, but will serve as creative inspiration because it takes their mind down a new path. INTPs like to think new thoughts for their own sake. ISTPs like to think new thoughts if they are useful and can be carried out. Of course, INTPs carry out lots of ideas. Everyone does. But it's more about the percentage of your ideas that you carry out. For INTPs, even if they are often executing their ideas and testing them in the real world, they are still constantly being struck by ideas that they either abandon, put on the shelf to revisit, or totally forget about. They are in a perpetual state of being bombarded by ideas that they know they cannot carry out, whether that be due to lack of follow-through or simply limited time. And I think in this case, a lifetime qualifies as limited time. Think about puzzles. Here are 2 puzzles you can look over. An INTP would find great joy in solving these kinds of problems because it's an opportunity to demonstrate or flex intellectual prowess. There are no social dynamics to contend with. There's no physical sensory reality to navigate through. There's simply the abstract problem. There's an enjoyable purity to that. But solving an abstract puzzle like that doesn't really achieve anything in the real world. It's an intellectual exercise. Nonetheless, simply finding the answer to the puzzle can be a deeply satisfying thing for INTPs. Doing work, so to speak, in the intellectual abstract realm is second nature for INTPs and will often be done for its own sake. I should mention here that if an INTP finds a job that allows them to do this kind of puzzle solving in a way that has tangible benefits in reality, especially if it can help people, then that is an immensely fulfilling path for them. INTPs contend with the problem of actualizing their thoughts, taking this abstract wizardry and making it tangible reality. As I've mentioned many times in lots of other videos, this is why roles such as advisor, teacher, mentor, professor are very good for INTPs. All of those roles have one thing in common. The onus to take action is on the other person, the student. INTPs can impart wisdom, which gets carried out into the world. ISTPs, on the other hand, have very little problem taking action. In fact, it's their default mode of existence. They are very in the moment, perceptive and alert. They are, of course, intellectual and capable of intense abstract thinking, but they are always grounded by their extroverted sensing. They want to deal with reality as much as possible, with what is right in front of them. What can I do right now, in this moment, to optimize the situation I'm in? ISTPs are often prone to, I'll have to see it for myself, thinking. They can follow along with theoretical rambling, but they need to both think about it themselves and see it and interact with the thing themselves. ISTPs are, I believe, as the stereotype goes, hands-on learners. ISTPs enjoy mastering their craft and carrying it out. Pragmatic versus pedantic. ISTPs adopt a this will do approach in situations because they understand the power of motion and momentum. A quote I often cite for such things is, "A good plan, violently executed now, is better than a perfect plan, executed next week." George S. Patton. ISTPs understand that the theoretical and intellectual are just one part of the equation. You also have to do the thing. Whereas some types like to strategize over the long term, ISTPs are more tactical and say, don't give me unsubstantiated theoretical plans filled with assumptions. Give me something workable right now and let me go figure this thing out on the ground level and in the thick of it. ISTPs are often portrayed as the quintessential action hero type for this reason, making quick, reflexive decisions from moment to moment, using their TI, SE and also NI just on a quicker time frame. INTPs, on the other hand, are frequently stuttering or second-guessing themselves when taking action, out of this often self-imposed need for things to be precise, exact, or perfect. INTPs have extroverted sensing as their worst function, or so-called polar function. So the "I'll figure it out as I go" approach is really off-putting. Again, we're all forced to have to adapt and figure things out in the moment. That's just life. But when it comes to things that are really important to them, they're going to desire that pause, that ability to ponder and pontificate. ISTPs, that'll do. Let's get stuck in. INTPs, okay, let me think about it more. ISTPs like actionable conclusions, whereas INTPs constantly see multiple ways things could be done. Although it's an oversimplification, ask yourself, do you prioritize speed and make decisions without considering lots of alternative possibilities, therefore potentially missing things, which would be ISTP? Or do you require time to ponder and make decisions slowly, often changing your mind, sometimes suffering from analysis paralysis, possibilities and potential? Things you'll hear INTPs say are, imagine if, wouldn't it be cool if? Okay, so let's say, theoretically, that I know this could never happen, but if it could, there's this real infatuation with what could be. It's what makes them so creative. But they're still dealing often, by definition, with things that only exist in their minds. This is speaking more out of experience here, but I rarely hear ISTPs doing this. Even speculating about what could literally happen is something that they don't seem to indulge in that much. They have extroverted intuition as their polar or worst function. So pondering possibilities, seeing other potential ways things could go, seeing connections between seemingly unrelated things, and seeing people's intentions. None of those things are their strong points. So in conversation, if you're trying to type someone else, or by observing your own speech patterns, try to analyze how much of the time you spend talking about reality and how much of the time you spend talking about potential reality and possibilities. Also, now that you've subscribed, I've been told that there's this bell thing that you're supposed to click. Feel free to click that too. Feel free to visit our Patreon, which is patreon.com/lovewho, where you can basically pay us money, but in return for some cool goodies and services. We also sell typology themed mugs and t-shirts. There'll be more of those coming soon.